So with this background, let's look at types of pramanams that we have. In fact, this is a very vast subject in our ancient Indian wisdom. There is a Nyaya Darshana, the Tarka and the Nyaya, Navya Nyaya. It's a very rich subject. So no wonder ancient Indians were absolutely clear of what they are saying, because they had the tools to establish knowledge without much ambiguity. And such a culture, such a civilization is today being branded as one which is dogmatic and having blind belief and so on. That merely shows the ignorance of people who are saying it and the ignorance of people who are listening to it seriously. Anyway, coming back to the subject. So there are multiple pramanams exist. Again, there are lots of complicated discussions here. I am not going to get into it. I will do a very simple, to the extent what we need, only I will take and go. First, let us look at some scriptural reference. So if you take Nyaya Shastra, which is what I talked about, Nyayetu Pratyaksha Anumana Upamana Shabdaha Pramanani. So Nyaya Shastra counts 4 pramanas: Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, and Shabda. These are the 4 pramanas. That's what Nyaya Shastra says, Gautama's Nyaya Shastra. In another text, Vedanta Sara, what it says Artha Kameshu Saktanam Dharma Jnanam Vidhiyate Dharmam Jigja Samananam Pramanam Paramam Shutihi. So one who wants to get these Purusharthas of Artha and Kama and all that, they're not so much worried, but they are worried about Dharma. They want to know more about Dharma Jnanam. This is very important in order to all that. Dharmam Jigja Samananam, if somebody wants to know Dharma, Pramanam Paramam Shutihi. The ultimate Pramana is Shruti, which are the Vedas. That's what this Vedanta Sara says. Then if you look at Taittiriya Aranyaka, for example, in Arnaprashna it says, Smriti Pratyaksham Audihyam Anumanas Chatushtayam Etairaditya Mandalam Sarvaireva Vidha Asyate. This mantra comes in the first, second, I think, mantra. Out of the 133 mantras, this comes in the very beginning. What is it saying? Smritihi, Pratyaksham, Aidihyam, Itihasa and all that. Anumana, Chatushtayam. It says there are 4 pramanas. Etaihi Aditya Mandalam Sarvaihi Eva Vidasyate. That's the reference you find in Taittiriya Aranyaka. So therefore, the point is there are different pramanas exist. There is, literature which is inside this itself is pointing to all of us. What we will do, we will go to, actually it is 5 pramanas. I removed one to reduce the complexity. I just removed one of them. I forgot to change this header. It's 5 pramanas. So let us take this question. How many people are attending this seminar? Now, as I told you, for example, if it is an auditorium, I would just do a head count. Simply, I'll count. If I am in doubt, I'll count the second time and then, done. 392. So this method of accurately establishing the knowledge is called Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means it is visible to my Indriyas. It is available to my Indriyas to directly grasp. If you ask, is somebody singing? If I hear the music, I will say yes. If you say somebody is crying, if I heard somebody crying, if I see somebody crying, sometimes people cry silently also. So Pratyaksha means that which is available for my Indriyas directly for me to unambiguously come to a conclusion. That's one way of getting knowledge. That's the easiest available in and around me. So if you ask what will happen if you put butter on a hot plate? Well, I will say after some time it will become ghee. Now the question is this an accurate knowledge? Of course it's an accurate knowledge. Why? Because I have seen whenever butter was put on a hot plate, I have always seen there is a Purva Siddhanta, everything that is available already. I know that in the past it has always happened. Therefore, I know that it will become ghee. So you have seen the cause, so therefore you can mention about the effect. There are three parts to it. That's what Nyaya Shastra says. If you see the cause, you can actually comment on the effect, or if you see the effect, you could have said this could have been the cause, or sometimes because of a common occurrence also, you can actually infer unambiguously. So that is called Anumana. But the Anumana uses perception as part of it to get it. Please understand that also. Suppose if you ask, how did the king quell the rebellion? Then, you come back and say he dealt with an iron hand. You actually understand what it means. You never think the king had actually a hand made of stainless steel or, some alloy steel. It didn't mean that. Moment you said you dealt with an iron hand, you actually exactly know what iron hand means. The characteristic features of what part of ironness that you have to get into the hand, you understand. So this is called Upamana. So sometimes the knowledge can be unambiguously transferred by using Upamana, by comparison and analogy, but we know what to compare. We will not say iron hand means literally take that king had a hand made of iron. We know what to do. But that's the way the knowledge can be, captured very unambiguously. There's something called Arthapatti, which is all about, you can postulate. For example, is this medicine a vaccine for a virus? Now that's what scientists are trying now. So they will conjecture, they will set up an experiment, they will, derive some logic out of some, they will deduce or induction, deduction, so many things are there. And they will test the hypothesis, they'll sufficiently establish with enough confidence, statistical, otherwise, and so on and so forth. Then finally they'll come to a conclusion. Yes, there are a lot of modern research, management research, a lot of research uses this. Set up an experimentation, systematically go after it, and come to a conclusion which cannot be misleading and wrong and so on. So there is Arthapatti. Suppose we ask a question, is my heart working normally? If I try to answer it, I would be, or in other words, suppose I have a heart pain. There's a pain in the heart. I better listen to a cardiologist seriously. Why? Because I have no idea of this heart. I mean, I only know somebody told me I have a heart. I have not seen my heart. Only in a mission, some picture they showed me. Or in a laboratory, they showed me something. They said, this is how heart looks like. I just believe it. So if you say, if my heart is working normally, the only pramana is an expert. The word or testimony of a past or a present reliable experts. So the cardiologists would use all these previous ones. He would have gained a lot of knowledge through perception, inference, Upamana, Arthapatti and all that. He'll bring all of them into bearing. He will look at your ECG report. He will, touch you. He will put a stethoscope and see you, and so many things he will do. Finally, he'll come and say, there is some noise coming. There is a hole in the heart. Your heart is healthy. This pain is on account of something and something. This is also a pramana. And that is called Shabda Pramana. Word, testimony of past or present reliable experts. And that's how the knowledge is happening. The entire medical field works on Shabda Pramana. An entire management consulting works only on Shabda Pramana. You are able to believe that this person has a lot of expertise. Therefore, constitutional experts are consulted by the president and the governor when there is a problem. Why? Because Shabda Pramana. So these are 5 pramanas. There is one Anupalabdhi. I removed it from here. Not knowing is also probably a knowledge sometimes. So on. Anyway, so let's stretch these questions, because we are in a journey of finding knowledge, correct knowledge. So let us stretch this question a little bit. Let us ask this question. Let us say we are all in a room. About 30-40 of us are in a room on an evening. And suddenly there is a power outage, complete blackout, pitch dark, and there are no lights around also. Now I have some questions. First question is, who are all there in the room now? In fact, a much easier question is, how many of them are there? Out of the 40, how many of them are there? Let's say for 10 minutes there is no power and it is pitch dark. And this is a question that we are now asking. This is the first question. Second question is, am I there in the room? And how did I find out? Consider these questions. I'll get some more complicated questions from the list of questions which we had in the first class. Who am I? Where did I come from? Okay. Am I on the right path in life? Now I want answers for these questions as well. Earlier I showed you some simple questions. Now I want some answers for these questions also. The point is, which of the 5 pramanas, if not 6, those 5 pramanams, we will use to answer the above question. Let us take that. How many of them are there in the room? I doubt whether I can answer that question. You know why? Because the room is pitch dark. And first of all, if they are making some noise, I can only conclude some people are there. I cannot conclude whether out of the 40, 38 are there, 39 are there. I cannot conclude. 15 are there. I have no idea. And even if somehow by sheer luck I said a number and turned out to be true, I simply said 18 and it so happened there were 18. I cannot tell you who are those. None of these pramanas will be of any use for me. Pratyaksha is not possible because the Indriyas are not going to work now. The Indriya Gochara, the place where the Indriyas have to travel are all blocked now actually. And since all other pramanas also use the previous pramanas in some ways as part of its inference, I think all the pramanas will vanish now. So I don't know how we can answer this first question. Let us take the second question. Am I there in the room? 100%. You don't have to touch yourself and see and answer this. While I may not know whether this person sitting 4 chairs to my right is still there or not, I can tell that I am inside the room. How did I find out? I use none of the Indriyas. You don't ask me how did I find out. I know I am there. That's all. It ends there. So I don't need any of these pramanas to get this knowledge. Right? You just think about this issue. Now, who am I? Well, if I say I am Mahadevan, I will give you hundreds of pages of literature to show that I am not Mahadevan. If I tell you I am a male, I will be able to tell you that's not an incomplete description of yours. That's not what you are. So, all these questions are to be answered now. And these are, by the way, important questions for us. Who am I? Where did I come from? Am I on the right path in life? So the question is which pramana to use? Only the Shabda pramana of all those, there is something called Shabda pramana. That is the nearest which we can use to answer these last 2 questions. Otherwise, it is going to be very difficult. We will be stuck with these questions forever. So that Shabda pramana in Nyaya Shastra, I just got these 2 sutras just to sort of tell you. It says Apta Upadeshaha Shabdaha. It's the 7th sutra in the first section. Apta Upadeshaha, instructive assertion of a very reliable person. The Upadesha must be Apta. It should be appropriate. So by Shabda, what it means is expert. That's why if you ask, do you have a heart problem? You should not go and ask a skin specialist. You should ask a cardiologist. If you have a problem with your lungs, you should go to a pulmonologist. You should not go to a dermatologist or orthopedic or anything. It is Apta Upadeshaha Shabdaha. Then the next sutra says Saha Dvividaha. That Shabda is of 2 types. Drishta Adrishtartatvat. The knowledge that we are seeking can be to the domain of which is seen. Sometimes it can be the domain of which is not seen also. Drishta atava adrishtartatvat. Drishta adrishtartatvat. So, this heart, is it, I have pain in the heart. Well, what is happening? It is an issue of seen, because the cardiologist has seen actually hearts, so many hearts. So he is able to use Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, all that. He is able to combine it, Arthapati, everything, and formulates his Shabda, his expert advice. He is able to do it. So cardiologist is the expert. Now, the question is, suppose if I ask, why am I suffering? I have been very, very dharmic person, very ethical, very moral in this life, but I am suffering from day in the morning to day in the night. This is my life. A lot of people sometimes, quite a few people ask these kinds of questions. Now, who is the expert to actually answer this question? Because we are talking about things which we have not seen. I mean, suffering is an anubhava that you have had. And, forget about the suffering part. You can say, who am I? Where did I come from? I don't know how you can answer. After people have died, they cannot talk about what is death. People who are living anyway cannot talk about death. Now, if you want some knowledge about death and what happens after death, where do you go? This is a question. Who is the expert in this matter? Where is the Shabda Pramana here? for answering this kind of questions, which are adrishta. In life, there are a lot of adrishta. There are no drishta. I will give you an example. One of the days, one of my friend, unfortunately, he is no more now, very close friend of mine, he narrated a story. His cousin in JP Nagar in Bangalore, he's a postman, nice man, simple, nice person, apparently, according to him. He was just standing in the tea shop, evening 4 or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. He bought a cup of tea, 2, 3 of them were standing, and he was sipping the tea. There was a vehicle came on the road. The vehicle lost the control, and I think the driver lost the control. Of the 3 people, the vehicle directly hit this person, this postman. Okay. And I think, fortunately he survived. He didn't die, but his right leg was gone. I think amputated or something. Now, how are you going to, can you give a basis on which you can explain it? I mean, we have life has thousands such events. Don't push everything under the carpet saying this cannot be explained. Therefore, these are all, you leave it. That's not a very interesting answer, because science can tread only in pratyaksha, anumana, upamana, arthapatti and shabda on matters which is seen. But the world has a lot of things which is not seen and not explained by any of these pramanas. I will give you another example. I was a student. I'm sure all of you have these kinds of examples. I was a student. This is about 40 years back, going from Chennai to Madurai in the bus. We had a college break or something. So 5 of us actually got into a bus, took a bus, and we are going to Madurai. As the bus left the bus station in Chennai, in about 5 kilometers, my friend was sitting in the window. He was from Tuticorin. He was sitting in the window. There was an elderly man sitting on to the left of him. So this elderly man requested my friend, can you please exchange the seats? I need a little, it was a little hot. Can I sit on the window? So my friend said, fine. They exchanged the seats. After they exchanged the seats, in exactly 2 kilometers, there was an accident for this bus. The bus met with an accident, and the first 3 people sitting on the window on the right side died, including this old man. So my friend actually exchanged the seat to survive, and this old man exchanged the seat to die. How are we going to explain this? And life is a lot of such questions. Please understand, we cannot brush aside. These are all examples of unseen. So like that, there are so many things happening. So many questions are there. We don't know how to get answers. So the question is, where are the answers? Is there a framework to understand this?